Hi, it's Ben from learningsurfphotography.com. There is a new housing from Frogs called the Sony RX1xx series from the Salted line. It's the little brother of the Sony A6xxx range of housings, and as you'd imagine it fits the RX100 series of cameras. So that's Mark 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7. There's lots of different versions of the RX100. Up to the 7th version is the most recent, I believe, and you can use anything from the 3rd generation, 4th, 5th, 6th or 7th in this housing. And if you just want a quick brief overview, if you've got one of those housings or one of those cameras already, the RX100 series, and you enjoy using it and you just want to get it straight in the sea, in the ocean, or even if it's just, whether it's diving or surf, or even just maybe it's for use by the pool or in the snow and you want to protect it, this is going to be a really good option for you. So stay tuned and you'll find out a little bit more. If you're coming from something like the A6xxx series and you're already shooting with an A6000 or an A6500 and you're looking to get something different, perhaps you use them from the land and you just want to try out the stuff in the water, this is another good option. Pick yourself up an RX100. I've got the Mark 5, so it's kind of in the middle of the range of cameras that fit in this, and I've had great fun using it. I used it at the beach just on a kind of flat day. I've tried it out with various different setups that I'll talk to you about, and essentially works really well, just like the other Frogs housings. So yeah, there's my really quick overview. Some details, because I'm sure some people are going to be interested. As you can see from the bottom, it's got a metal plate there which attaches to the pistol grip. It's an optional accessory, so you can shoot one-handed. Personally, I haven't used it with the pistol grip. And I think that's just because I've got other housings that do have that. I think the pistol grip's useful if you want to stabilize yourself when you're shooting video, perhaps, and if you want to shoot at the wide end of these RX100 cameras and kind of shoot one-handed, then that could be useful. But it's not as useful as it would be when you're shooting with a fisheye or a really wide-angle lens on a bigger camera. But having the option there is really, really good. So the other thing to notice is it is compatible with the same Salted line ports as the A6xxx series. So that's the big dome and the little dome and the smaller ports which have the macro attachments, and then the big ports. You wouldn't ever use it with that, but just showing you it would attach. So what would you actually want to get port-wise for this one? This is the standard port that will work throughout the whole zoom range for any of those cameras. So if that's what you want to do, and if you're shooting above water, you probably don't need an extra port. If you're interested in shooting underwater, doing dive photography, you've probably got a good idea of what kind of ports you want. But if you're a surf photographer and you want to do, one of the common questions I get asked is, how do I shoot those over, under, kind of split, half above, half below water shots? You might be tempted to pick up one of these, and I'll show you some examples of shooting with the RX100. I've got the Mark 5 and this big dome port, and it is possible to get that split view angle, but as I always recommend, and whenever someone asks me, I say the best option, or the easiest option, is probably a GoPro with a dome, and if not, if you've already got an interchangeable lens camera and a housing for it, get a big dome and a fisheye lens for your interchangeable lens camera. The RX100 I don't think is wide enough to get a really nice over-under shot. Having said that, the dome is going to be really useful for underwater and various other things. But as I say, that's less of a surf photography thing, so it's not really in my wheelhouse. But there is a good reason to have interchangeable lenses, and that's for the underwater stuff, I believe. For above water, I would stick with the standard port. It's going to get you a long way to getting pretty much any type of surf photo that you want to get with your RX100. So, other features of this, we've got the locking latches, same as on the latest version of the A6xxx housing. You've got metal kind of cold shoe, optical out for all of the controls. In the box you get same stuff you get, so you get a spare O-ring and silicone gel, and you get your lens ring, which, as you can see, you've got a control on the side here which controls zoom or aperture if you've got it set up that way, and you get the little soft eyepiece and some other bits and pieces. So yeah, the extra bits you might want to pick up as a surf photographer would be probably the pistol grip is the main one, if you did want to shoot those kind of wider angle one-handed style shots, or to stabilize yourself If you just want to stabilize yourself, I'm just looking around, there we go. Might be worth picking up a grip like this, which is what dive photographers use to mount their flashes and extra bits and pieces on. But that's really useful for shooting video, if that's what you wanted to get this one for. And all of these, certainly the RX100 5 and up shoot 4K video in really good quality, so that might be a really, really nice, fairly budget-friendly setup. This costs $279, by the way, on the Frogs website. And I'll put a link below so you can find all the details about it. So I've covered the basics of the housing, and if that's why you watch the video, just to find out the ins and outs and whether it's suitable for you, hopefully you've got everything you need there. If not, shoot me an email or leave a comment below. It's ben@learningsurfphotography.com, and I'll fill you in on the details. But let's talk for a minute about why you might want to choose this one over the Sony, an interchangeable lens camera like the a6000, for instance, and the a6xxx housing. So price-wise, they're the same. So both $279 for the basic housing kits, and then they use the same accessories, pistol grips, ports, etc. So you're not going to be spending any less to get this one or any more to get the other one. The RX100 series cameras are amazing, and you can pick them up certainly for the 3, 4, 5 range, which do fit in this one, for pretty good value at the moment, especially secondhand. The a6000 is still an amazing camera and unbelievable value at the moment, especially secondhand, but also I think they're pretty good new in terms of value. I think there's quite a bit more you can do with something like the a6000, certainly in still photography. In terms of video, there's less of a distinction between the two, because you don't really want to shoot super fisheye video. Or you can just pick up a GoPro to do that really well for the same price as a fisheye lens. So I think if you're going to shoot video of surfing in the water, this with an RX100, even the Mark V, but even if go up to different versions if you want higher, better quality autofocus, basically, I think, and the increased focal length. But if this combined with an inexpensive RX100 camera would be an unbelievably good video setup for shooting surf video. I think for still photos, I would still, if you're starting from scratch, you don't have anything, I would still go for an a6000 and a fisheye lens and an a6xxx housing with the small dome port. So probably a Samyang 8mm, Samyang or Rokinon, they're the same brand, different names. The small 4-inch dome port, the a6xxx housing with the pistol grip, and then just pick up the a6000 with a kit lens if you want one, or the really good Sony 35mm f1.8, or the Sigma 30mm. There's so many options. You could get a very, very good setup for fisheye surf photography through to decent, like 90% of what you'd want to shoot above water. So whether that's the kit lens 16 to 55mm, and that's going to cover the vast majority of what you'd want to shoot, or a 30mm prime lens from Sigma, or a 35mm from Sony, and then maybe a 60mm Sigma if you wanted to go a bit longer. But essentially, I think if you're starting from scratch and you want to experiment with all different types of surf photography, including wide angle and fisheye, I'd go for the a6000 and the a6xxx housing, or any housing for the a6000. If you've already got the RX100 and you want to dip your toe into surf photography, this is literally a no-brainer. You should pick one of these up right now. There's going to be people who have both an a6000 and the RX100. That's where it becomes a bit trickier. It's like, okay, I don't think in terms of size there's much difference, so don't worry about that. It's literally, do you want to shoot really wide angle photos in the water? And if you do, pick up the bigger housing, a6xxx. If you don't, pick this up, because the only other thing that's going to, the only other type of photo that you're not going to be able to take with this, that you are going to be able to take with the bigger housing and the bigger camera, is going to be something with really shallow depth of field. So you might be able to do something similar with the macro settings and some decent focusing with your RX100, but it's not going to be as easy as shooting a wide aperture lens like the 35mm 1.8 in with your A6000, because it's got a bigger sensor than the RX100, and the lenses are, you can get some really wide aperture lenses, relatively inexpensive. So if you want to get those, if you want to get really wide angle fisheye shots, or if you want to get really shallow depth of field shots, I'll put some examples up so you know what I'm talking about, go for the A6xxx and an A6000. If you don't want to shoot fisheye and you're not too worried about really shallow depth of field, this with an RX100 is going to be a really, really good option. It's pretty foolproof in terms of the way you use it. Same as everything else, press the button or pull the trigger and that takes a photo. The RX100 series are a fantastic camera. They've got great autofocus capabilities, and the interface with them is really, really similar to the A6000 series. So if you did find, okay, maybe I do want to shoot fisheye, maybe I do want to do X, Y, and Z, you're not going to have wasted your time with the RX100. You're not going to have to relearn anything. And certainly you're going to be able to reuse your pistol grip and any accessories you get for this housing with the bigger housing. So you might end up that's like a really nice upgrade path if you wanted to start shooting really wide angle. But yeah, if you don't think that's for you, this is going to be a really, really good investment. It's going to get you in the water. It's going to keep your kit dry. Obviously, that's the main thing. And it's going to allow you to use all the functions that you were using on the land and apply all the knowledge you got there to the water. And yeah, hopefully get out there and have a lot of fun. I had great fun using it at the beach, and I'd recommend it to anyone who's got the RX100 series already or want to get into it, don't want to take those really wide angle shots. So that's the Frogs Salted Line RX1xx series housing. And if you want to learn a bit more about how to use a housing like this, or which lenses to go for if you're getting a different sort of camera, lots and lots of different ways of improving your surf photography, then I've got a course. Have a look at learningsurfphotography.com and all the details are there. You can find the link. And any questions about this or anything else to do with surf photography, then shoot me an email. It's ben@learningsurfphotography.com. And until then, get out there, get in the water and take some photos.